Have you ever wondered if the way you talk at the doctor's could ruin your care? Many older adults experience this without realizing that the way they speak during an appointment can make all the difference. I'm not talking about fancy medical terms or knowing every detail about your health history. I'm talking about small, everyday habits in conversation that can quietly work against you. The truth is, the words you choose, the tone you use, and the way you share your concerns can shape the quality of the care you receive. And here's the part most people overlook. Doctors can only work with what you give them. If the information isn't clear, complete, or direct, even the best physician can miss something important. This isn't about blaming yourself or thinking you've done something wrong. Most seniors pick up these habits without even noticing. And many of them come from a lifetime of trying to be polite, not wanting to complain or assuming that certain issues are just part of getting older. But when it comes to your health, those little conversational patterns can have big consequences. You might miss out on treatment options, delay an important diagnosis, or walk away without truly understanding your next steps. In this video, we're going to talk about the 5 ugly truths about how older adults sometimes speak at the doctor's office. Things you may be doing without realizing it and how they can quietly harm your health. We'll explore what these habits look like, why they happen, and what you can do instead to make sure you're truly heard, respected, and cared for. Stay with me until the end because the last one is something even the most careful and thoughtful patients often get wrong, and fixing it could change every future appointment you have. Number 1, downplaying or minimizing symptoms. One of the most common mistakes I've seen older adults make during a doctor's visit is brushing off or downplaying their symptoms. It might sound like saying, "It's nothing serious, just a little ache," or "I don't want to make a fuss about it." You may think you're being polite or not wasting the doctor's time, but in reality, you're making it harder for them to help you. Doctors rely on the details you give to piece together what's really going on. If you leave out information or make something sound smaller than it is, you're essentially giving them an incomplete puzzle and expecting them to see the full picture. For many seniors, this habit comes from years of putting others first, being tough, or simply not wanting to seem like a complainer. I've spoken to friends in their 70s who told me they'd lived with months of discomfort because they didn't want to bother the doctor. But here's the thing. What you think is a minor ache could be the early sign of something that's much easier to treat if caught in time. The longer you wait or the less you say, the higher the risk that it becomes something more serious. I remember talking with a neighbor, Helen, who was 78 at the time. She had been feeling a constant tightness in her chest for weeks, but dismissed it as just getting older. She mentioned it in passing during a routine checkup, and only then did the doctor realize it might be a heart issue. Further testing confirmed she had a condition that needed treatment immediately. She told me later that if she had kept quiet or downplayed it further, she might not be here today. Her story is a powerful reminder that what feels small to you might look very different to a trained professional. The best approach is to describe your symptoms exactly as they are without softening them, to make them sound less important. If you've had pain for 3 weeks, now say 3 weeks. If your sleep has been disrupted, say exactly how often. If it's affecting your daily life, be honest about how. It's not complaining, it's giving your doctor the tools. They need to do their job well. You're not asking for sympathy, you're giving the facts, so they can help you stay as healthy and independent as possible. When you speak openly, you take control of your health in a way that's both respectful and effective. A good doctor will appreciate your honesty and use it to guide your care. Remember, the appointment is your time. Don't waste it by hiding the truth about how you really feel. Number 2, talking in vague or unclear terms. Another habit that often causes trouble during medical visits is speaking in generalities instead of giving clear, specific details. Many older adults will say things like, "I just feel off" or "it hurts," sometimes without explaining when, where, or how it happens. While those statements might make perfect sense to you, they leave your doctor guessing, and guessing in healthcare is dangerous. The more vague your words, the harder it is for the doctor to pinpoint the cause, which means the diagnosis and treatment could be delayed or even misguided. One reason this happens is that we often forget to keep track of our symptoms. By the time you get to the appointment, it all blends together and you end up giving a short, hazy description. Another reason is habit in everyday conversation. Vague language is enough for friends or family to understand you, but a doctor needs precision. They need to know exactly how long you've had the symptom, what triggers it, how intense it gets, and what, if anything, makes it better or worse. Without that information, they're left trying to read between the lines. I think back to my friend Robert, who's 81 now. He once told his doctor he was feeling weak lately. That's all he said. The doctor asked a few follow-up questions, but because Robert couldn't recall details, like whether the weakness came in the morning or evening, if it was worse after walking, or if he'd had any other symptoms, the doctor didn't have enough to go on. Weeks later, after the weakness worsened, more tests revealed anemia that could have been treated sooner. Robert admitted later that if he had been more specific the first time, he might have avoided those extra weeks of feeling drained. The best way to avoid this mistake is to prepare before your appointment. Write down your symptoms, when they started, how they feel, and what affects them. If it's pain, describe it. Is it sharp, dull, burning, or throbbing? If it's fatigue, does it come after meals in the morning or only after physical activity? This level of detail not only helps your doctor understand you better, but also speeds up the process of getting the right tests and treatment. When you give precise information, you're not being difficult or overcomplicating things. You're helping your doctor connect the dots. It's like giving them a clear map instead of a blurry sketch. And when your health is on the line, clarity is one of the most powerful tools you have. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 3, not bringing a written list of concerns. One of the biggest missed opportunities I've seen older adults make at a doctor's appointment is showing up without a written list of what they want to discuss. You might think, I'll remember everything once I'm there. But the truth is, once you're in that room, it's easy to forget half of what was on your mind. Maybe you get caught up talking about one main problem, or the doctor asks questions that steer the conversation elsewhere. Before you know it, the visit is over and you're driving home, realizing you forgot to mention 2 or 3 important concerns. This isn't about being forgetful. It happens to everyone, especially when the appointment feels rushed or you're trying to recall details on the spot. But without a written list, you leave your health to chance. Doctors aren't mind readers, and if something doesn't come up during the conversation, they won't know to address it. I've seen friends walk out of appointments still worrying about the same issues they had going in, simply because they never got around to bringing them up. I remember my friend Margaret, who went in to talk about her blood pressure medication. She had also been having trouble sleeping and occasional dizziness. But by the time she left, she realized she'd only discussed the medication. Weeks later, the dizziness got worse, and it turned out to be related to her blood pressure control, something the doctor could have connected earlier if both concerns had been discussed at once. That delay cost her time, energy, and extra trips back to the clinic. The best approach is simple before your appointment. Sit down and jot down every concern you have, big or small. Number them in order of importance. When you get to the office, hand that list to your doctor, or keep it in front of you so you don't miss anything. Even if you can't get to all of them in one visit, at least your doctor will know they exist and can help you decide what needs attention first. Walking into a medical appointment without a list is like going grocery shopping without knowing what you need. You'll almost always leave without something important. But with a list, you take control, make the most of your time, and ensure that every concern, question, or change in your health gets the attention it deserves. Number 4, assuming the doctor remembers everything about you. Another habit that quietly hurts many older patients is assuming the doctor remembers every detail of your medical history from past visits. Even if you've been seeing the same physician for years, they often treat dozens of patients each day. They may remember the general outline of your health, but they won't have every lab result, past symptom, or medication adjustment in their head. When you assume they already know, you might skip over important updates or changes, and that can lead to gaps in your care. I've seen this happen countless times. A friend of mine, Walter, went to his regular doctor complaining about joint pain. He assumed the doctor remembered his history with gout and didn't mention that he had also started a new blood pressure medication a month earlier. That detail turned out to be key. The new medication was contributing to his symptoms. Because Walter didn't bring it up, it took weeks of extra tests to discover what could have been solved in minutes. The truth is, medical records are helpful, but they don't tell the whole story. There may be notes from your last visit, but they might not include everything you've experienced since then. And sometimes your file is so large that the doctor can't review every page before you walk in. If you assume they already know the latest details, you risk leaving out the very information they need to give you the best advice. The best habit is to give a quick, clear update at the start of every appointment. Mention any new medications, supplements, or lifestyle changes since your last visit. If you've had new symptoms, even if you think they're unrelated to your main concern, include them in your update. A simple statement like, "Since my last visit, I started this new pill and noticed these changes," can give your doctor a much stronger starting point. Think of it like catching up with an old friend. You wouldn't expect them to know what's happened in your life if you never told them. Your doctor is your partner in health, but the partnership works best when you keep them fully informed. The more complete the picture you provide, the faster they can connect the dots and guide you toward the right care. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 5, talking too much without letting the doctor guide. When you finally get into that exam room, it can feel like the one chance you have to share everything that's been on your mind for weeks or even months. Many seniors understandably want to make the most of that moment, so they start at the very beginning and go through every detail, from what happened years ago to every ache and pain they've felt since. While this comes from a place of wanting to be thorough, it can overwhelm the conversation, eat up the limited time, and keep the doctor from focusing on what truly matters right now. The truth is, medical appointments are often short, and doctors are trained to guide the conversation so they can gather the right details in the right order. When we fill the air with too many side stories or unrelated symptoms, we unintentionally steer the visit off course. Imagine a road trip where the GPS keeps trying to point you toward your destination, but you keep taking side roads to show all the interesting places along the way. You might never get where you need to go. I remember Mary, a 77-year-old friend of mine, who went in to talk about knee pain that was keeping her from walking comfortably. By the time she finished telling the doctor about her cousin's hip replacement, her garden work, and the weather changes she noticed last month, half the appointment was gone. They barely had time to examine her knee, and she left with more questions than answers. Not because the doctor didn't care, but because there simply wasn't enough time to address everything. That doesn't mean you should hold back important information. It means you should let the doctor lead with questions so your answers are as relevant and helpful as possible. You can always bring a short written list of your top concerns and hand it over at the start. That way you won't forget anything important, and the doctor can decide how to prioritize each issue. Another tip is to keep your explanations clear and concise at first. Give the main point, for example, "I have sharp pain in my right knee when I stand up after sitting," and then allow the doctor to ask for more detail. This back-and-forth approach ensures the most urgent matters are addressed while still leaving room for follow-up questions. Speaking in a focused, cooperative way shows respect for your doctor's process and gives you the best chance at leaving with answers, solutions, and a plan you understand. Remember, it's not about talking less. It's about talking in a way that works with your doctor's flow, not against it. Final thoughts. The way we speak at a doctor's appointment shapes the care we receive more than we often realize. Words can open doors to better understanding, or they can create confusion that slows down progress. As we grow older, the stakes feel higher. Our health concerns carry more weight, and every visit matters. That's why learning to speak with clarity, focus, and mutual respect is one of the most valuable habits we can build. It's not about becoming someone different or rehearsing lines, but about being intentional with the precious minutes you have in that room. Think of it this way: your voice is the bridge between what you feel and what your doctor can help you with. If that bridge is clear and sturdy, the path forward becomes easier to walk together. If it's cluttered with unnecessary details, mixed signals, or frustration, the journey slows down. Small adjustments like preparing your main points, letting the doctor guide the flow, and speaking honestly without fear can make all the difference. I've known seniors who dreaded appointments because they felt unheard or misunderstood. But I've also seen how those same people transform their experiences by simply approaching conversations differently. When you leave an appointment feeling confident that your concerns were understood and addressed, it brings peace of mind that goes beyond that one visit. So the next time you sit across from your doctor, remember you're not just a patient, you're a partner in your own care. Your words, your tone, and your willingness to work together are powerful tools. Use them well and you'll walk out of that room with more than just instructions. You'll walk out with trust, understanding, and hope for better days ahead. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.